Hello? Okay, let's wait for a couple of people to jump to get in.
One.
Hello? Okay, terribly sorry about the technical difficulties.
Okay. Are we the right way up?
Yep, we should be the right way up now. So it should be appearing up now.
Hey guys, could you tell us if we're the right way round for everyone?
Yeah, because
we were just experiencing some technical difficulties that kind of cropped up at the very last moment.
Yeah, I think it was because I went into live mode before I turned around the camera.
Yeah, okay.
And that completely messed everything up. So, okay, we're all fine. Whew. Nothing like a bit of live stress to get everything going, and the heart rate completely going out the window. So, okay.
Okay, so Dara, do you want to say hello?
So okay, yes, I guess I got to say hello. So my name is Dara McAnulty. I'm the author of Diary of a Young Naturalist. Sorry for the Da Vinci-esque mirror writing, but it won't. And this is a book which chronicles the turning of my years, and it's been incredibly important to me for a really, really long time.
Hi Paddy.
Hi.
Hi guys. Hi Sue. So I'll say hi to people.
Okay, you can say hi to people because I talk. So I'll just need a couple of minutes just to get sort of warmed up. Before then I'll be a blubbering mess.
It's okay. It's okay. We just really like to thank At Home with 4 Indies.
Yes, I really, really like to thank them for letting me mess up their perfect Facebook Live record. And the
4 indies are?
Okay, the 4 indies are Bookish, Forum Books, and
Little Taller. Little Taller.
Yeah, I can't forget Little Taller. They're my publisher.
And Lingham's.
And Lingham's.
Okay, we're okay, Dara.
Okay, we're okay.
We're okay. Dara's like the youngest person by a generation to do this, so we'll cut him some slack. So yes, Dara. So your book chronicles your 14th year.
Yes.
So you started writing
just about 14th year.
Yeah. So you just start writing it before your 14th birthday, don't you?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so how this sort of book began was I started writing the diary in March, but the actual book didn't even come into mere thought until September. And that was when we were talking to Little Taller about doing an article for their project The Clearing. And somehow there was like we just kind of fell into conversation about creating a book, like maybe compiling a couple of blog posts together, and might be just something to hand out for some of my Twitter followers, just something really, really small like that size. Well, now it's that size, so it kind of very quickly got out of control.
Perfect control, I would say.
Yes.
So I'm Dara's mum, Roisin, and I'm helping him along, and I'm going to be asking him some questions, and I will try my best, Dara, not to be the embarrassing mum.
Okay then.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
All right. So So some people would like to know, when and how did you become interested in the natural world?
I have always been interested in the natural world. It has been a part of my life since the day I opened up my eyes. And from just because I grew up in Belfast, and I'd be constantly picking up feathers and go climbing trees and exploring my world, and other parents would be looking on with distaste at like me touching dirty things. They did give you some.
Yeah, so parents in the playground, they would have frowned at me because I let you play in dirt and do quite what some people might think of as dangerous things, but I kind of
and well, they couldn't be that dangerous of things. Like, I haven't died yet of clutching at feathers or digging around in dirt, and I've only fallen out of a tree once, and that was quite embarrassing. But
so your interest has been ever present.
It has been ever present,
and I can attest to that because from the moment you could point, it was you were pointing at everything. From the moment you crawled, you were picking things up, and from the moment you could talk, you could not stop talking.
Yes.
About birds and noises and sounds and so
what I was always exploring, and sometimes I've always been sometimes my exploring from I remember I've had a couple of scary episodes while exploring. Once I was climbing a cliff. Do I even mention this story? Is that
Probably not, just in case there are some kids.
Yeah, don't climb cliffs without ropes.
Yeah.
I haven't actually done it since because a rock fell off the cliff and smashed me on my shoulder. I was grabbing on with one arm, and my mum came out and saw me clinging on. No, nobody saw it actually. Only Lorcan saw it, and he got slightly traumatized from seeing me hanging onto a sea cliff in Rathland with one hand, with my shoulder completely.
Yeah, you were okay.
Yeah, but it was completely okay. I was completely fine, and I got to see some lovely wild pansies on the side of a cliff.
Yeah,
which is completely worth it.
Absolutely,
I would say.
You would say. So Dara, tell everyone who's listening about why you started your blog and what made you want to sit down at your keyboard and share your observations with the world.
Okay, so there's a multitude of reasons for writing the blog and writing the book. And words are forming in my mind. And there wasn't many young people in Northern Ireland who were talking about nature. And at that time I was also really, really isolated. I was being bullied. Things weren't very good. And I just decided, for a laugh, just start spewing stuff out onto the internet. And I didn't think that there would be anybody there to listen. I was wrong. And very, very happily wrong, because what then happened, because what I discovered was this incredible community of people who cared and loved nature, and that was a revelation. I had always been, throughout my entire life, completely smothered by the bullies around me, and it was brutal. And I finally managed to, with my blog, talk to people, like-minded people, to talk to people who cared about nature, and that was incredibly important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, Dara. Jackie would like to know, do you find birdsong soothing?
Yeah. Why was I about? Of course I do.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe explain a bit about what happens when you hear birdsong?
Well, I can't explain that. It's like there's a I guess I can't really explain it because I don't have a degree in like neurology or something. Because
But you can explain. So, do you think then, obviously you love the sound of birdsong. Do you really relive the feelings you get when you hear birdsong only when you write? Do you find it difficult to put in words in conversation those very deep, intense feelings that you have?
Absolutely not. I really struggle with, first of all, talking to people, which makes this entire online trying to
so you're being autistic, that kind of
just talking to you guys, it's already making me go.
So that's so we'll move on then.
Okay.
All right. So lots of comments from people who've ordered your book. So that's lovely. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, everybody. And okay, sorry. In about 5 minutes, I'll be completely fine.
Yeah,
up until
it kind of takes you 15 minutes, 20 minutes to kind of get, but it's totally fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
So, when did you first realise then people were listening and interested in what you had to say, and how did that make you feel?
I was very confused how it made me feel, because all my life, the only people who ever seemed to care that ants would milk aphids and would farm aphids and rub their tummies to get their milk. The only people who were ever interested in that were my parents and my granddad as well. There's a bit in the book where I'm talking to granddad, and we've actually got a picture from that day, I'm pretty sure, don't we?
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there spewing out facts, which is what I used to do a lot of when I was younger. I don't think, I didn't actually read novels until I was... Okay, sorry, I get really
timelines are confusing, perhaps?
Yeah, I can remember
it. Okay, so you don't need to have a timeline.
Yeah, it was very late on before I read novels. The eyewitness books in library. I go out to the library every week.
Speaking of library, we've got Karen here from Ormo Road Library.
Oh my
god! You've grown up, from Ormo Library. Karen used to do the story times at Ormo Library.
Oh my god, it's hilarious!
So that's it. Hello, Karen.
Hi, Karen.
So Dara, tell us about what elements of writing and communicating with so many people. You use Twitter videos and photos. Do you have a particular favourite?
Well, do I have a favourite? I guess my favourite is Twitter because that's the one I'm most used to, and I'm definitely more used to Twitter because that is you know the way that it's become sort of like a home, and in Twitter there's that dusty basement that you don't ever want to enter because it's got all these evil monsters at the bottom of it, and it's just you just kind of seal it off. But the rest of the house is amazing. So, and that sometimes those monsters have actually broken through the many layers of cement I've tried to pour over them, and that has been not very nice.
So you're talking about trolls.
Yeah, trolls. Yeah. Strange. There's been some very strange ones over the years. Once I was accused of being a brainwashed globalist cultist for believing in climate change.
Yeah.
Well, why am I even saying believing? It's fact. It's like, and apparently I'm a brainwashed globalist, so I just laughed.
Yeah.
Like I think I spent a solid 10 minutes just laughing at that one. Because like I've never heard something so ridiculous in my life. Like globalist and cultist don't actually really work together, do they? Because a cult is a singular entity, but globalist is like everything. So how does globalist and cult... It was like, it doesn't make any sense. So I can just laugh it off. Of course there's some more serious ones, but we won't go into them. And... Yeah, sorry, I'm just like freezing up again.
So, how do you think people can draw from nature for their own well-being, and why is spending time with nature important for our mental health?
Being outside is the best thing that we can do. It brought me so much comfort and life. It was a savior, because back the summer in this book, that's in the book, I was a complete train wreck. I felt extreme lethargy, which happens to me when everything is going wrong. I feel like I can't do anything, and the entire world just seems to be sort of collapsing around me, and I do get a lot of lethargy, and it's awful, because it's a part of my essence to be constantly doing stuff. And when I can't do stuff, I go into this vicious cycle of complete self-retreat. But being out in nature saved me. And it was... Oh, I've just seen a really interesting question.
Oh.
Have you noticed any noticeable changes in animal bird behaviour, positive or negative, during lockdown? I can't read what's the next bit?
That's a compliment, so...
Is it? Oh God. Hide it again, please.
You can just thank you. You can just say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't really like compliments.
What about the question? That's an interesting
question. The question. That's I think I've been noticing more, and I think everybody's been noticing more, the little things that happen in nature, and I think that, so you're seeing everything under a microscope now, because when you go out into your garden now, which is for most of us the only place we can go, and so we're building up this almost expansive knowledge about our gardens, and I'm finding that really, really interesting, because usually your observations are spread thin over a vast, wide area. But now we're all being sort of Darwinian in our being of a naturalist and studying a single area for how many? It's been like a couple of months.
60 days or something like that.
Yeah, we've been at this for weeks now, and with the only place we can explore being our gardens. So I think we're definitely noticing more.
Do you notice any behaviour in the birds themselves or the wildlife themselves?
We did put out some of the dog hair for see if birds and the blue tit.
Yeah, well, that's kind of personal. So
yeah.
The
blue tit was it was on the washing line, and the blue tit sort of grabbed up the fluff in its mouth, but the weight of the fluff was so much that it started swinging around with the fluff, and it took it like a couple of seconds to like right itself with like the fluff in its mouth before it was like swinging.
Yeah. It did fly off.
It did make it out.
Nest, so do you think then that the birds are getting a little more daring with the less traffic and the less noise? I think they're becoming a little bit more tame in our gardens, maybe.
Maybe. I haven't particularly noticed it. Mm-hmm. And I think that sort of change would take a long time, would take a much longer time span to really take effect. like let's say a couple of years. We don't even know what would happen in a couple of years without what other crazy changes might happen.
So you're taking a biologist view in this, and
yes,
you need to take a.
That's how I would always take a view on it. It's like,
so you need to observe it for a really long time to notice any significant changes.
Yeah, and there would have to be a longer period of humans not really doing very much to really have an effect, because in the bird's eye, everything is kind of just as normal. And it's only until they start really realizing, like the crows have probably copped onto it at this point, that there's that there's very little cars in the roads.
Yeah, they're more like opportunists, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a lot more opportunist. So they've probably got some idea of what's going on. But all the rest of the birds, they probably don't even care.
I know this is going to be really hard for you to answer. What's your proudest achievement and why?
My proudest achievement. My proudest achievement. Yeah, this is a hard one.
So maybe people's idea of achievement are different. So what's like when you think of the last few years, when you think of something special, what would that special thing be?
That special thing. So I think my greatest achievement, there's two of them. One, being able to write a book, which is something that I never thought I would ever be able to do.
Well, it's not something that most teens
and
do.
Considering that in primary school, I was told that I would never be able to write a paragraph to writing a book, is quite a turnaround.
Yeah.
And the other one was taking that courage to speak to people and try and share my voice. Taking that massive leap out into the great abyss of the internet, and being able to get my voice out there, just being able to do that is probably up there as one of my best achievements, because it changed me. And I think that is what I would consider the thing that changed me the most, and would be my greatest achievement.
That's pretty fair to say. What do you hope your readers will take away from reading your book, Dara?
What? Oh, to take away from reading the book. I hope they take away a greater... I'm not really sure what they'll take away from the book.
Because that would mean you would have expectations, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I don't really have expectations. I just see results.
Yeah. So if someone's reading your book, what would you like them to feel?
What would I like them to feel? Well, I'd like them to... Well, the dream would be to make... so that they would feel compassion and love to the natural world. And that they would take the time to care and to really love the natural world. To notice a little beetle crawling across. And I think,
and human compassion as well.
Human
for
compassion.
People of difference.
And empathy. And realizing that we're all in this world, and this world is beautiful and a wondrous place, and some areas of that world are threatened. And so there's this Norse myth, and there's many Norse myths, and there's a lot. It's actually a really common theme within all of the mythological cycles of this concept of where creatures are destroying their own homes out of spite and anger. For example, in Norse mythology, it is Ratatoskr. So Ratatoskr is a squirrel, and he lives on the Yggdrasil, which is basically the tree of the worlds. The entire universe is a tree in Norse mythology, and the 9 realms rest in its branches. At the bottom, there is a dragon called Nidhogg, and at the top there's an unnamed eagle. And the squirrel basically runs up between the eagle and the dragon, trading insults, and the eagle gets really angry and starts flapping its wings and sending basically rays of destruction around the 9 worlds, and the dragon is slowly gnawing at its very roots because of the anger that it's feeling from these insults that are being traded by the squirrel, Ratatoskr. And the question is that why is this squirrel destroying the tree on which it lives? And if we can solve the question of why Ratatoskr trades these insults, then maybe we can begin to fix the problems that are quite deep-rooted in our society. And there's a lot we can take away from myths, and in the book, I mention myths a lot. It takes up a large portion of the book. And because stories have been created by humans to explain the world, and because humans have this almost necessary part of them to know the world around them. And because humans have an inherent need to understand. So, by understanding how people view the world, we can build up a greater insight of our world, because every single myth and legend has some kernel of truth in it. And with that, we can build up that greater understanding. And stories are always at the root of it. Because I'm creating almost a story to explain, try and understand how stories affect, how stories have built up our world. I'm almost creating a story right here to explain it. Mm-hmm. And that art of humans creating stories is so integral. Every single book that has ever been written has, at its core, been an attempt to gain an understanding, to learn. And that is just what it is to be human.
See, this is
I'm
just listening to you, and I'm just having these really profound memories of how you spoke as a really young child. And it pretty much hasn't changed. Obviously, your words have changed.
Yeah.
And your ability to communicate. But your profound gift of understanding.
Stop complimenting me, please. Sorry, I'm gonna lie.
Yeah, well, I have to say that I'm really proud of you, because that's a mum's job.
Okay.
And so to have the ability to say it in front of lots of people is actually a pretty cool thing. So, on that, Dara, do you want to do a reading from your book?
Okay. I haven't bookmarked it, so I'm going to have to find it.
I have.
Oh, have you?
Sorry, it's a mum thing.
Oh. Whoops. Oh my god, the jacket's coming off. No.
It's alright.
Can't... Come on. There we go. My fumbly fingers. Okay, so this is a little excerpt of my book, and it is Sunday, 13th of May. When you visit a familiar place, it's never stagnant. There's always change. And every new day brings in a tilt, another view, something that previously escaped you. That something can be as innocuous as a stone wall. Of course, stone walls could hardly be called that. So much life emerges from the cracks and crevices. Wait and watch a stone wall, and I promise you, what emerges is a performance, reserved only for those who stop and look. Today, though, it wasn't that. Today, though, it wasn't what was on the wall or inside it, but what was over it. We'd been walking for quite some time in Killykeegan Nature Reserve, a small and secret place not far from home. It's another of the places we always seem to be alone in. Today, we are running, searching for orchids, listening for the cuckoo call, running over limestone pavements to see if we could spot some mammal scat. Blanid loves peering over walls and is drawn to these moments. She has a sixth sense. We both feel it. And she stopped at the most perfect peering spot because behind the stone wall of an ancient castle was a hidden pond, reflecting the sky and squiggling with shadows galore, darting in and out of the light, a convulsing mass of tadpoles, and with them the epic cycle of life, anticipation, and fascination. We clambered over and surrounded the muddy edge, peering in the light. The water is bubbling with methane, which makes me think of folklore, of will-o'-the-wisps and banshees, dancing flashes of red light emanating from the decomposition of organic matter. My dad remembers seeing them in Tamnahari on his great-uncle's farm, dancing in the dark. These days they are rare because drainage and farmland improvement have claimed most of our swamps, bog and marshlands. Whether it's bioluminescent or the combustion of methane, it's wonderful to let the mind wander off with the banshees and will-o'-the-wisps. Folklore and stories are often inspired by the strange and the beautiful in the natural world, and all these stories bring nature deeply into our imagination. Plus, I just love staring into ponds, so it must be good for the mind. My head is pretty hectic most of the time, and watching the Daphnia, beetles and pond skaters, dragonfly nymphs is a medicine for this overactive brain. Ripples appear on the surface tension from no obvious source. I feel the light sprinkling on my head turn to larger raindrops, breaking my tramps as they drip from my brow down my face. Blanid and I wander off to find shelter by a hedge. But when the rain stops, she goes back to Mum and Dad while I carry on in a different direction, alone. As the globe turns, there are things we reach for at certain times. Today I wanted so much to hear the cuckoo. A need for seasonal firsts is strong in me. The first of everything is very special. In my fervour to hear it today, I realise I've wandered quite far away from everyone and find myself in a secret spinney of hazel and bluebell. You know when you forget a place and remember it all at once? Being in the spinney takes me straight back to being a toddler, trampling the lilac blooms before Mum whisks me up. Then fast forward a couple of years and I'm fidgeting for a cowpat for dung beetles and climbing mossy banks searching for unknown things. It almost brings tears to me, being alone. It's peaceful enough to feel the past and to feel it overlapping with the here and now of musky scent, trickles of light passing through the canopy. The verdant lapis light illuminates a path through the bluebells and hazel, a secret way. Sometimes it's good to have a path, for fear of the wrath of fairies, who are said to live inside the bells of these wildflowers. Some say that the ominous ring of the bluebell, if heard, will spell death to whoever bears those unfortunate ears. I tread softly on the wood path. The bulldozing of early childhood is gone. In its place, there is reverence. A bluebell wood takes much longer than our time on earth to get this carpet of bloom. It is precious and ancient and magical, and it arrives like clockwork if left alone, casting a charm on so many open hearts. Here since the Ice Age, The bluebell takes 5 whole years to grow from seed to bulb, a labour of slow and perfect growth. A mantle of bluebells, the cycle of spring, and amongst it all, quite suddenly, making me jump out of my skin, the cuckoo sings loud and close. I decide not to chase it though. I listen. I smile with relief, knowing all is well in this place. And that was actually from the 13th of May, which is yesterday, which is...
Yeah.
And it just so happens that one actually had mythology in it, which was what I was talking about, which is a very, very happy coincidence. Okay, so
just need to take a deep breath.
Just need to take a deep breath. It was like a couple of seconds. It was like
that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I was just transfixed. What I was hoping to do was just to answer some people's questions.
Okay.
But I couldn't do that.
Okay.
So I apologise to the people who I was going to answer there. So Dara, another couple of questions, if that's all right. Are you a reader? Oh. And if so, what have you enjoyed reading? What the question of all questions? What is your favourite book?
Oh my word. So, what is my favourite book? Well, that's the impossible question, isn't it? That's like... that is the impossible question.
Well, what do you like reading?
Okay.
And Marlene, hello. Yes, it will be an audiobook soon.
It will be an audiobook.
When Dara can get to the studio to record it.
Yeah.
Which has been problematic, obviously.
Yeah,
so,
it is because...
July, I think we're hoping.
It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, at some point. So, what do you enjoy? So, are you a reader?
I am a reader. I am an avid reader. I just finished my 5th reread through of Lord of the Rings. The entire thing, I got like this big book which had all 3 books in it, which was amazing. So I didn't have to go through 3 different books. I could just read it, which did mean that I kind of went in a stream and completely ignored the rest of the world for a while. At the moment, I'm reading Stephen Fry's Heroes. I just finished Mythos. I'm just starting Heroes at the moment because I love Greek myths. They've been an obsession of mine for a long, long time, since childhood. So Lord of the Rings, oh my god, that, like, to put it into perspective, there was, when I started, so it's only recently that I finished Lord of the Rings, and I started it before lockdown, no, just before, just at the same time that the coronavirus was first recorded in China.
So that was January,
it was in January. So
that is pretty good going for all the Lord of the Rings books, and plus you were at school, so
yeah, I spent a lot of many 1 o'clock nights, 2 o'clock nights that I should have been.
I'm a proud mother.
You're proud of me going to sleep at 2 o'clock, like losing sleep,
like mother, like son. So
oh yeah, you did that a lot, didn't you?
Yeah. So yeah, you're a pretty big reader.
Pretty big reader.
And poetry as well, Dara.
Yes, I love poetry. I love poetry. I love Seamus Heaney, Claire, Ted Hughes, and I've always loved Seamus Heaney especially, and John Clare for almost the exact same reason. They take what feels almost to a lot of people the ordinary, and makes it so much more than that. They give it a sort of extra meat. They give it so much power and love and attention and creativity that a humble, let's say the frog spawn inside Death of a Naturalist, it almost ascends it to a whole new level. Of course, it is already one of it is already amazing, but Seamus Heaney gave it almost a whole other dimension to it, and that art has been so captivating for me, and I try to try and do that, with very little success, in my opinion.
Oh, I would disagree with that.
Well, you were. What?
Okay. So, I think it was Ellie's son would like to know how you're coping with lockdown.
Absolutely horribly. Like, just flat out. I cannot go to the places that I would usually call home, basically. I cannot visit. I more than anything at the moment, I want to go to Murlock and hear the cookie.
So where's Murlock? Is a beach?
Murlock is a beach that's like about 10-15 miles away.
Yeah, I mean the government say that it's okay for us to travel, but we
no,
have it.
We're not. Because we're in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not allowed to.
So we haven't been in our car for weeks, months.
Yeah.
And I was pretty sick, so I haven't been able to go anywhere. So,
yeah, so it's been a bit of a...
So we're really missing those places, aren't we?
But at least now I basically know the forest park that's just over the road off by heart.
Yeah. At
this point. I never think I've spent so much... every single day I'm up there now.
Yeah.
And
discovering new things. There's a cuckoo there.
There is a cookie there.
Mm-hmm. There's Tony. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
We miss you too.
We miss you too. Oh my god! This is really bizarre. I'm seeing people that I haven't heard from in
since years.
This is getting surreal now.
Yeah. So someone else wants to know they can see, even though it's mirrored, that you like the Ramones.
Oh yeah.
So what's your favourite bands? It's a kind of chilled out question.
Chilled out question. Favourite bands. Okay. I hate these favourite questions.
So what bands do you like?
What bands do I like? Okay, I like The Clash. Mm-hmm. I like The Cure. Mm-hmm. I like The Smiths. Mm-hmm.
And then there's some bands that you like that you probably they're.
I like the Sex Pistols. Yeah, it's like and I love that. I just because they just have this energy to them, all of them, that just seems to feel angry at the system, but also full of life and joy at life.
And empower.
Yeah, and it makes you feel. Yeah. Makes you feel really good inside, and and it fills me up with energy.
Yes,
and
energy. That
makes me
energy.
Supercharged, which means that if I'm going for a particularly bad day, I could just listen to punk, and and I basically can fire up all my engines, and it's great.
Yeah, so someone says, no wonder you and Chris Packham get on so well.
Yeah, yeah, that might be.
That was what it was kind of. I remember. Can I tell a story?
Okay, and you can tell. I love stories.
Yeah, so Dara, I'll just kind of tell this quick story. When Dara was on Spring Watch, and we went to, Dara was getting an award from Chris, and we went into his caravan. And you did not say a word, so it ended up that Chris and I were just chatting away.
I was completely silent.
And you were silent because, like, that's pretty much how you were back then.
Yeah, I was completely...
and you were, your autism meant that a lot of the time it took you a really long time to process your environment.
Yeah.
So, and that was totally fine. We were happy chatting away. But then as we were about to leave, Chris turned on punk music. And I can't remember the exact song. I can't remember it. But you started pogoing, and it was just... And then there was that connection. There was
then there was that... And we were like going... We both like... Okay, then.
And then you kind of... You took the conversation online then.
Yeah, then we took it.
And it was much easier for you
much easier online.
To do that. And you met Chris recently in Belfast. And
yeah.
And you've met each other a few times, and it's the first time, isn't it? That
we've had a fledged conversation that wasn't punctuated by at least 10-second awkward silences. I consider, like, the cut-off point for an awkward conversation is when you're having over 10 seconds of awkwardness. And that was the first time. So, does that mean that my social skills have improved?
I think your social skills have improved quite a lot.
Well, they
Dara.
didn't have to improve that much to be better, did they? Like, they weren't very good. So do we have any other questions?
I'm just going to look down the sidebar now to see if there's any other questions.
Does anybody want to give us any questions? So we don't have to scroll too far?
Yeah. Any questions?
Okay, now everybody's gone silent.
Yeah. So another, do you have a particular habitat that you feel most at home in?
That really, that actually is mood dependent, because there's two states, there's three. So my three favourites are at the coast, in forest, and up in mountains. Which is amazing where I live, because we live at the foothills of the Mourne Mountains, beside the sea, the Irish Sea, and there's also a forest nearby. So it's like...
We're really lucky.
We're really, really lucky. It's like the trinity of of my favourite habitats and I'm in basically the direct centre of all three. Which is
perfect.
Perfect.
The center of the perfect storm, if you can.
Yes.
You can. Someone would like. Dara, can you say hi to John Hobson?
Ah.
Can you say hi to John Hobson?
Hi.
Hi, John.
It's cringy saying hi to people. It's like, oh. Who gives me inspiration?
Yeah.
Who gives me inspiration? Well, I guess nature gives me the most inspiration. Because I generally try to avoid taking inspiration from people as a rule for me, because I want to always have the thing that would destroy me basically would be to be like someone else. So, it's like...
But so, I mean, you've said, like, different authors inspire you. So the word inspire, it is a bit of a funny one.
Isn't it?
Because I don't know about you, but being autistic, that is a bit hard, isn't it?
It is hard, because I think I just find all my inspiration from nature, and that's where all my love and compassion
And do you
comes from.
think it's hard for you to answer that question because sometimes you don't understand people?
Well, I've kind of taken to studying people over the past few years, and that's been a ongoing project. Humans are very confusing and complicated. It's incredibly annoying. So Ellie...
Ellie would...
So what animals do you find most interesting? Oh, this is your son asking us. So, anybody who knows me will know my favourite animal is, of course, the hen harrier. And the hen harrier means everything to me. It is basically my soul in flight. That is basically the hen harrier to me. And I remember the first time I saw it, it was in Big Dog Forest, and I'd already caught a glimpse of it, but I didn't actually think that it was the hen harrier. And so I was already, and then out of the Sitka spruces, this ghost arose, and I remember me and Mum were just kind of sitting by the lake, and we just started screaming. And
we're terrible bird watchers,
we're
aren't we?
terrible. It was like with the waxwings. We're like, oh my god, it's waxwings! And they all fly out.
away.
I was like, oh no.
there is a skill, isn't there?
There is a skill
to being in the field, and you're definitely much
like some bit of discipline.
Yeah, but you've definitely got more disciplined in the field and quieter. Yes. You know, as that, you know, but you still haven't lost your childish excitement either. No. It's very evident in the book that you still. Do you kind of want to talk about that? We've just got a couple more minutes about being childish.
Being childish.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as being childish, in my opinion. There's only being at wonder in a ever-changing and very interesting world. Mm-hmm. So to call it childish is in itself quite childish, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
so some people might think like being childish is getting, you know, having very outward excitement about things, and you know, big emotions and really expressive. And
well, if everybody was very expressive and showed their opinions about stuff, and just wanted to basically express themselves as much as they possibly could, and go, oh my god, isn't that thing amazing?
Yeah. Do you think the world would be a kinder place if we were
most
all
definitely.
A little bit more?
If we all said what we loved and
no
was excited about it,
yeah,
and there was no overlooking eye saying, oh, no, you're not allowed to do that because you're an adult. If there was, like, it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it, when you think about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know about other adults, but I would like to think that I have that same childish excitement, especially being in nature, and get very excited. And I suppose there's an exuberance to that as well. And, you know, that's something that you definitely...
yes. So nobody ever lose that excitement that you feel when you're out in the natural world. It will be your saviour through life. Mm-hmm. And it will never lose your wonder. Like, thank you, Karen. I'm just going to quote you there. May you never lose your wonder. I want to say that to everybody. Nobody ever lose your wonder, because it's what really makes us human. Okay,
perfect.
So is that, are we going to like...
Yeah.
So has everybody really enjoyed this?
Yeah.
I was like, I want to say,
I've really enjoyed this.
Have I not been blundering about like a Aegis or anything?
No, it's been lovely chatting.
Yeah.
Like, quite more formally than we would normally.
Yeah.
And we'd just like to thank Lingham's, Forum Books, Booka and Bookish.
And a really big thank you to At Home with the Indies for allowing me on the Facebook Live. So a big thank you to all of them, and a big thank you to all of you guys watching, because it means so much that there are people there to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a lovely evening. Bye. Thank you so much.
Have a lovely evening. Bye.